guys, thanks for checking back into the channel. My name is Jason. Today I'm on a test ride. As you can see, I am on a Roadglide ST, and this bike feels very, very foreign to me. I am not used to this bike. Let's see here. Oh, I can put the thing down and everything. This Roadglide was one of the new ones for 2022. So I don't know a whole lot about it, so I'm gonna stop speaking at midway through the video and just kind of run down some of the specs. But really, for me, this is just a first impression as a guy who never rode baggers before, have always been interested in the baggers, especially the Roadglide. I just test rode the Street Glide CVO. That was an amazing bike. But this Roadglide here, Roadglide ST, is a little bit more up my alley with the all blacked out engine and all the details. I personally just like the look of a Roadglide more so than a Street Glide. What's up everyone? Today I'm really excited to break down this Roadglide ST and do a first impression and overall thoughts on this beautiful Harley. I've always wanted to test out a Roadglide, and this is my first Roadglide experience, so keep that in mind as you watch this video. I'm coming primarily from a Softail Lowrider S, and so that's where I'll be kind of drawing my experience from. So let's get a few things out of the way first. The Roadglide ST is the newest iteration of the Roadglide for 2022, and it's largely inspired by the performance baggers that Harley enthusiasts have been going after for years. It's nice to see Harley pick up some of the trends and seeing them put out bikes like this one and the Lowrider ST to give the customers a better foundation to work with. And while I can't say that the Roadglide ST is a performance bagger completely, I think Harley did a really good job giving people a good foundation should they choose to build from it. And even if you don't go that route, it's nice to have some options. So let's talk about the looks of the bike first. The Roadglide ST is right up my alley with the updated graphics on the tank, similar to that with the Lowrider S, and you get some of the nice bronze accents throughout the bike, which I think is a nice touch. It comes with a shorter bag, so for the customers that want to put a 2-into-1 exhaust, won't be left with that gap on the left bag. And this design also provides a better lean angle for those that really want to lean into the corners. It's a simple idea and design, but one that is well thought out and well executed. I dig it. It comes with a shorter fender and the redesigned taillight, and overall I think this Roadglide has a much more aggressive look than with the blacked out finishes, and a more aggressive stance with that taller rear shock. Personally, I'm a big fan of this look. One of the things that I wasn't a huge fan of is the solo seat and the lack of passenger pegs. Now, I understand why they did it, and it's a relatively easy fix. But if I'm getting into a bagger, I want to be able to take a passenger without too much hassle, so I'm a little disappointed in that. Paired with the 117 engine and the high performance intake and the redesigned cam, this Roadglide puts out 125 foot-pounds of torque. So all around, a great base model to work off of for those that are really performance oriented. And for those that aren't, it still has some really impressive performance-based features right out of the box. And you get all this for $30,000 MSRP, and relative to the other Roadglide models, it presents a fantastic value. The Roadglide Special comes in at around $27,000, so for $3,000 more, you're certainly getting a decent bang for your buck. Let's talk about performance. One word that kept popping up in my mind during the test ride was just how smooth this bike was all around. Smooth and comfortable in the corners, very linear power delivery. I thought the Roadglide was going to feel sluggish, but considering it's 900 pounds, but with the 117 engine, the high performance exhaust in the cam, the bike never really felt that boring. I thoroughly enjoyed everything this bike had to offer in terms of power. One thing to note is that the bike felt more comfortable at a higher RPM. So like around 3,500 RPM was the sweet spot at cruising speed. So for example, in 6th gear, that'll put you at about 85, 90, whereas in my 114, Softail Lowrider S, it puts me right at about like 75 to 80. It really just wanted to get up and go, and the bike never really felt boring like I mentioned. I felt like it wanted to be ridden a little bit harder. That's what she said, and I think that's the benefit of this redesigned cam. The ergonomics of the bike was amazing right off the bat for me. I'm coming in at 5'8". The seat was firm and very comfortable. I found that it kept me upright and locked into place. The handlebars allowed for a really natural bend in my arms, so it felt very comfortable. I will say though that the positioning of the bars and my arms made this bike feel less aggressive to me. I think that's one of the misses on this bike, but I get that there are limitations on stock bars from a Harley. I'd imagine most people will probably want to replace that with something to raise your arms up, giving you a little bit more leverage on the bike. I actually love the position of these handlebars. It's just super comfortable. My shoulders don't feel stressed out. Everything feels accessible. It's just a very, very comfortable ride. Ooh, that power. That power. Next, I wanted to talk about the taller shocks on the Roadglide ST, and to me, it was amazing. It reminded me of my test ride on the Lowrider ST. It just sat slightly higher, allowing you to be a little bit more aggressive on the curves and just felt more balanced. It absorbed all the bumps and cracks on the road and was insanely comfortable to ride on. I know that this is only like a 20-30 minute test ride, but so far I haven't felt any bumps really. And I've been intentionally going over bumps on the road just to see how this bike responds, but yeah, just like that was no big deal. On paper, I understood why people upgraded to baggers because it's really in the top echelon when you're considering comfort and distance. But it was really nice to be able to experience this firsthand for myself. I can see myself riding this bike for hours with very little fatigue. As there's hardly any wind buffeting, and a lot of times I had to open up my visor on my full face helmet because my face was just getting hot even though we were cruising at a 50, 60 miles per hour. I see how half helmets are more viable on baggers because so much of that wind is just eliminated. While I can't say that I'll be getting into a bagger anytime soon, I thoroughly enjoyed this test ride. And even though I didn't get to test many of the features like the GPS, radio, cruise control, and different riding modes and things like that, I can imagine that they'll just add to the overall experience and utility while doing long trips on the road. I was doing a little bit of research on this bike last night, and one of the guys who reviewed this bike was telling me how much the speakers were improved over the years, and I don't really want to test out the radio right now, but I'll take them for their word. Another thing I love about this shark-nosed fairing are these little compartments here that you can get to put in your wallet, keys, little things like that. This seat right now that I'm on feels decent. Like, I could probably do a good 6 to 8 hours on this. As a new rider, slow speed maneuvers were a little bit nerve-wracking for me. This bike just is really heavy and I'm not used to it. So I'd imagine it'll take me some time to get comfortable with the size and weight of the bike. I think that's another downside I can see in owning a bike like this long term. I'll also note that these baggers are super wide, obviously, and so putting my feet down, even with my boots on it, makes it kind of difficult. I'm on my tippy toes, which isn't the end of the world. It can be a little intimidating for new riders. It can be a little bit intimidating for really just about anybody that's vertically challenged. I'm convinced that the Roadglide is in my future, and it's only a matter of time before I get into a Roadglide. But for now, I'm pretty happy with my Lowrider S and a Sportster. I could see why people upgrade to the baggers because, if you're doing long hours on a bike, this is premium comfort. This is the best that you can get, best of the best. But for me, my rides are a little bit more around town. One-day trips, maybe at most like 2 nights. So the bagger really wouldn't appeal to my life right now. 10 years, this is the bike that I'm gonna have. All right, guys. Do I trade in all of my bikes for a Roadglide? I don't know. I'm just joking. I learned my lesson. No more trading in bikes. Just add to the bikes. Surprisingly, for a bike of this size, it is very, very responsive. It just goes when you pull the throttle. There's no lag. Everything just feels very nice and smooth. It's a great bike. Alright y'all, that's my first impression of the Roadglide ST. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, peace. Where were you, man? Huh?
Somebody already did it.
You sat one out?